I
to
vostri
it.
figli e
Dear
la storia
authorities, their
stessa
sons, daughters,
vi
and history
ricorderanno
itself
se
will remember
avrete fatto
you
del bene
if
a
you
questa
work
popolazione
for the
che vi
benefit
è
of
stata
these people
affidata per
that you
servirla.
have been called to
Le
serve.
generazioni future
Future generation
onoreranno o
will either
cancelleranno la memoria
venerate
dei vostri nomi in
your
base
names
a quanto fate
or
ora,
cancel their
perché
memory
come il fiume
based on
lascia
what you
le
now
sorgenti
do.
per avviare
For just
il
as
suo
the Nile
corso,
leaves
così il
its
corso della
sources to
storia
begin its
lascerà
course,
indietro
so the
i
course
nemici
of
della
history
pace
will
e
leave
darà
behind
lustro
the
a chi
enemies of
opera per
peace
la pace.
and bring renown to those
Infatti,
who are true
come insegna la
peacemakers.
scrittura,
Indeed,
l'uomo di
as
pace
Scripture tells
avrà
us,
una discendenza.
there is a prosperity for the
La
man of
violenza
peace.
invece fa regredire il corso
Violence,
della
on
storia.
the other hand,
Lo stesso
turns
Erodoto
back to the course of history.
rilevava gli sconvolgimenti
Herodotus himself
generazionali,
spoke
notando
of
come
the
in
international
guerra
disruption
non sono più
brought
i
on by
figli
war,
a seppellire
when
i
children
padri,
no longer
ma i
bury
padri
their
a
parents,
seppellire i figli.
but parents bury their
Affinché
children.
questa terra non si riduca
In
a un
order that this
cimitero, ma
land
torni ad essere
may
un
not turn
giardino
into
fiorente
a
di
cemetery,
prego,
but become
con tutto il
once
cuore
more a
vi
luxurious
prego
garden,
di accogliere
I
una
beg you
parola
with all
semplice,
my heart to
non
accept
mia, ma di Cristo.
4 simple
Egli la
words,
pronunziò
not my
proprio in un
words,
giardino nel
but those of
Getsemani,
Christ.
quando
He
di
himself
fronte
spoke
a
them
un
in
suo
a garden
discepolo che aveva
in Gethsemane,
sfoderato
went
la spada,
to a disciple of
disse,
his
basta,
who had drawn a sword. He
basta.
cried, "No more of this."
Signor Presidente,
Dear President
signori vicepresidenti,
and Vice
in nome di
Presidents,
Dio,
in
del
the name
Dio
of
che
God,
insieme abbiamo pregato a Roma,
of the God to
del Dio
whom
mite e umile
we
di
prayed
cuore,
together in Rome,
nel quale tanta gente di
of the
questo
God
caro
who is
paese
gentle
crede,
and humble in heart,
è l'ora di
the
dire
God in whom
basta.
so many people of this
E
beloved
dire un
country
basta
believe now.
senza se
It's
e
time
senza
to
ma.
say no more of this,
Basta
without
sangue
ifs
versato,
or buts.
basta conflitti,
No more
basta
bloodshed,
violenze
no
e
more
accuse
conflicts, no more
reciproche
violence,
su chi le
mutual
commette.
recrimination
Basta lasciare il
about
popolo
who is
al suo stato
responsible
di
for
pace.
it. No
Basta
more leaving
distruzione.
your people
È l'ora
at
della
rest for peace.
costruzione.
No more
Si getti
destruction.
alle spalle
It is time
il
to
tempo
build.
della guerra
Leave the
e
time of
sorga
war behind
un tempo di
and let
pace.
a time of peace dawn.
E su questo, signor Presidente, mi viene al cuore
On
quel
this,
colloquio notturno che
my
anni
dear
fa
President,
abbiamo
let
avuto
us
in
sing again.
Uganda.
This is what we have
La sua voglia
had
di
in
pace
Uganda.
era lì.
There
Andiamo
is
avanti.
need for the peace. Let us go ahead on that.
Torniamo alle sorgenti del fiume,
Let us go.
all'acqua che simboleggia la vita.
Let us go on the
Alle fonti
discussions
di questo
of
paese c'è un'altra
the,
parola che designa il corso
the Nile
intrapreso
living
dal
source
popolo
and passing through
sud-sudanese il 9
some
luglio
say
2011. Repubblica.
Republic.
Ma che cosa vuol dire essere una res pubblica?
What is the meaning of
Significa
becoming one
riconoscersi come
republic?
realtà pubblica. Affermare cioè che
Yet
lo
what does
Stato
it
è
mean?
di
It
tutti.
means seeing yourself
E
as
dunque
truly
che
public
chi al suo
of the
interno
people. It is a
riscopre
declare that the
responsabilità
state
maggiori,
belongs to everyone,
presidendolo o
and
governandolo,
consequently those
non può che
entrusted with
porsi
greater
al
responsibility.
servizio del bene
Presiding.
comune.
This
E
is
con lo
for
scopo del potere,
the service of the
servire
common
la
good.
comunità.
That is the
La
purpose of power.
tentazione è sempre in agguato e invece di servirsene
There is
per i propri
temptation
interessi.
that we
Non basta
always
perciò
want to serve
chiamarsi
for
Repubblica,
one's own.
occorre esserlo, a partire dai beni primari, le abbondanti risorse con
It
cui
is
Dio ha
necessary,
benedetto questa terra,
one starting with
non
the primary
siano
goods.
riservati
The
a
abundant resources with
ma
which God has blessed
appannaggio
this
di
land
tutti.
should not be
Gli
restricted to a few,
piani di
but
ripresa
recognized
economica
legacy,
corrispondano a progetti
and plans for economic
di
recovery
un'equa
should
distribuzione
coincide
delle
with
ricchezze.
proposals for an equitable distribution of wealth.
Fondamentale per la vita di una repubblica è lo sviluppo
growth of
democratico. Esso
The growth of
tutela la
sound
benefica
democracy
distinzione
essential
dei
to
poteri,
life of the
così
Republic.
che ad esempio
It preserves
chi
the
amministra
health
la
distinction
giustizia
of powers,
possa
such as
esercitarla
way
senza
that, for example,
condizionamenti
those
da
who
parte di
administer
chi
justice
legisla o governa.
can do so
La
without
democrazia
interference from
presuppone
those who
inoltre il
just
rispetto
is
dei
in
diritti
government.
umani custoditi dalla legge e dalla sua
Democracy
applicazione,
presupposes
in
respect
particolare
for human
la
rights
libertà di esprimere
upheld
le
by
proprie
law
idee.
and the application of
Occorre
law,
infatti ricordare
particularly the right
che
to
senza
the freedom of
giustizia non è
it should
pace,
be
non c'è pace.
in mind that there
Ma
is
anche
no peace
senza
without
libertà
justice.
non c'è giustizia.
Without freedom, there is no justice. But also that there is no justice. Every citizen, therefore, should be enabled to make the most of the unique and unbeatable gift of his or her life and be provided with suitable means of doing. In the words of Pope John Paul XXIII, every human being the right to life and bodily integrity. The Nile, leaving its sources and passing through some uneven terrain, increases waterfalls and rapids, enters the South Sudanese plain, and near Juba becomes navigable. Before entering more boggy areas, in a similar way, I trust that the Republic's path to peace will not proceed unevenly, but starting from this capital, will take a course that can be navigated and not to be pushed down by inertia. Dear friends, it is time to move from words to deeds. It is time to turn to the page. It is time for commitment to an urgent and much needed transformation. The process of peace and reconciliation requires a new start. May an understanding be reached and progress be made in moving forward with the peace accord and roadmap. In a world scared by divisions and conflict, this country is hosting an ecumenical pilgrimage of peace, which is something rare. It represents a change of direction, an opportunity for South Sudan to resume whaling in calm waters, taking up dialogue without duplicity and opportunism. May it be on everyone an occasion to revive home. Let its citizens understand that the time has come to stop being carried along by the tainted waters of hatred, tribalism, regionalism, ethnic difference. It is time to sail. It is time to sail together towards the future. Together. Let us not forget this word, together. The course of the great river can also suggest a way to move forward. Along its way, the Nile joins another river at Lake No, forming the so-called White Nile. It is transparently clear waters, then arise from an encounter. This is the path to take, to respect one another, to get to know one another, and to engage in dialogue. Behind every form of violence, there is anger and resentment. And behind every form of anger and resentment, there is an unhealthy memory of wounds, humiliation, and wrongs. It follows that the only way to bring free, and this is through encounter, by accepting others as our brothers and sisters and making room for them even. This attitude, which is essential for any peace process, is also indispensable for the coexistent development of society. In the passage from the barbarity of confrontation to a culture of vital encounter, young people have a decisive role to play. Consequently, they should be provided with the open space. May they fearlessly take hold of future, which is then too women. May women, mothers who know how life is generated and safeguarded, need to be increasingly involved in political life of decision-making process. Women need to be respected. For anyone who commits an act of violence towards a woman commits it towards God, who took flesh from women. Neighbor as a brother, sister, the great rebellion The young history of this country, torn by ethnic clashes, needs a discover of mystic of encounter, the grace of whole. There is a need to look beyond grounds and differences in order to journey as one people, which, as in the Nile, is enriched by the contribution of its various tributaries. It was precisely by the river. And a century ago, the first missionaries to the shores were followed over by many humanitarian workers. I want to thank all of them. Let us not forget. Let us not forget to guarantee them. I want to thank. Let us not forget the security and support they need for their charitable works. A great river, however, can at times overflow and cause disasters. Tragically, this has been the experience of many victims of floods in this country. I express the closeness to them. Natural disasters tell a tale of nature that is battered and wounded, and from being a source of life. We need the foresight to care for creation for the sake of future generations. I think in particular of the need to combat the deforestation caused by profiteering. To prevent a river from flooding, its bed has to be kept clean, leaving behind the metaphor. The cleaning needed by the flow of life in society is represented by the battle against corruption, the inequitable distribution of funds, secret schemes to get rich, patronage deals, lack of transparency. All this pollute the riverbed of human, which the pressing need of any civilized country is to care for its citizens, especially the most vulnerable in this one. How many? Yeah, I think especially the semester. So important as a man. The same weapons that, despite bans, continue to arrive in many countries in the area, including South Sudan. Many things. Here we need many things. Many things are needed here, but surely not more. Here I will mention the development of suitable healthcare policies and need for vital infrastructures, and especially the primary goal of promoting literacy in education, and only the like all the children. Being like all the children of this land will be able to take their future, have the right to grow up holding in their hands notebooks and toys, not weapons and tools for labor. Finally, the White Nile leaves South Sudan, passes through other countries, joins the Blue Nile, and then flows into the sea. Rivers know no borders. They connect different territories. In a similar way, in order to achieve a suitable development, it is essential now more than ever to foster positive relationship with other countries, starting with those in the area. Here I think two of the precious contribution made by the international community to this country, and I express my gratitude for the efforts made to promote reconciliation and development. I am convinced that for those contributions to be fruitful, genuine understanding of social process and problems is essential. It is not enough to analyze and report on them from afar. This is a need to be directly involved with the patience and determinations, and more generally. As St. John Paul II said 30 years ago, in African solution must be found to African problems. Mr. President, distinguished authorities, in tracing the course of the Nile, I wanted to venture along the path of this country as young as it is beloved. I realize that some of what I have had to say may appear blunt and direct, but please know that this arises only from the affection I follow the life of the country, together with my brothers with whom I have come here as a pilgrim of peace. We wish to offer you our heartfelt prayers and our support so that South Sudan can experience reconciliation and change of direction. May its vital cause no longer be overwhelmed by the blood of violence, merged in the swamps of corruption, and blocked by the indignity of poverty. May the Lord of heaven, who loves this land, grant it a new season of peace and prosperity. God bless the Republic of South Sudan.